There's one identity shift that breaks all three visibility patterns at the same time. It's not a strategy, it's not a script, it's not even a rebrand. It's a decision you make once, and it changes how every future room and opportunity receives you. If you watch the first two videos in this series, you already know the problem isn't marketing, and you probably recognize your pattern. This video is the next iteration. It's your shift. Hi, everyone. I'm Rashonda Pratt, visibility and communication strategist, and I'm so glad you're here watching Visibility is Power TV. Now, you know the pattern by now, but knowing the pattern isn't the same as breaking it. And here's what most leaders do next. They try to fix the pattern without behavior change. So they think, I'm going to post more confidently and consistently. I'm going to speak more boldly, and I'm going to stop over explaining. But the problem with behavior first change is that you can't behave your way out of a self perception you still hold. But the pattern will return under pressure and in high stakes moments, in high profile rooms, and even on the big stage. So what we really have to do is do what I love is a reframe. We have to understand behavior change is downstream of identity change. All three patterns collapse when you make one specific shift. So here is the shift. You are moving from I'm seeking permission to be seen to I'm stewarding what I've been entrusted to carry. This shift is so important because every pattern, the hider, the translator, the background operator, it all is rooted in a permission pattern. You've been waiting for something or someone to make it safe for you to be visible. And here's the truth. Permission-based visibility will always collapse under pressure, but stewardship-based visibility holds strong because stewardship doesn't require permission. It requires responsibility because you have already been entrusted rather with this great responsibility, with your vision and with the great work that you've been given. You know, when we sit here and lean into waiting for others to give us permission, you run the risk of never receiving it. This is why I love to walk the clients that I get an opportunity to work with in writing their own permission slip, giving themselves the green light to move forward. Now, let's talk about how stewardship breaks the credentialed hider. How does stewardship work in all three of these patterns? Number one, this first one, a steward doesn't ask, am I qualified enough yet? They already know when they're nowhere. A steward asks, who needs what I've already been given? See, the question changes, and then so does the timeline. You stop delaying visibility until you feel ready because you already are ready. I remember when I started in the online space in 2014 and 2015, I didn't like my voice and I didn't like how I looked on camera. And I kept thinking if I can just get more confident, if I can just do this, maybe if I had a fancier setup and all of these things. But I started with a white wall and a message in my heart. Before we had all of these things that we built in my home studio, I just had a corner of my bedroom, a little 4x3 space, but I had a message in my heart. And that is what I was responsible for stewarding, that message. Stewardship breaks the translator. A steward doesn't overly explain. A steward declares. Because when you understand that what you carry isn't yours to justify, it's yours to deliver, you stop softening the message. You really become a truth teller. Declaration is the language of stewardship. Explanation is the language of permission. So I am a communication and visibility strategist. I am a keynote speaker. I am whatever you are behind that. That is a declaration that you don't have to justify. Stewardship breaks the background operator. A steward understands that hiding is disobedience when people are waiting for you. This right here was a game changer when this got into my mind and into my heart. Because understanding this, understanding that people are waiting for me, that someone right now is praying for you, but they don't know they're praying for you. Someone right now is praying through a problem and situation that only you can help solve. When you understand that there are people who remained in pain, remain ignorant, who remain under bad leadership because you don't show up, you start to take your visibility a little different. You start to understand my hiding is an act of disobedience. See, the background operator, right, has confused humility with hiding. But true humility is showing up in front of the people who need you. Even when it would be more comfortable and convenient to stay behind the scenes. Because my life is not my own. To whom much is given, much is required. So visibility becomes an act of service, not just self-promotion. Uh-oh. Did I just say that your visibility really isn't about you? It isn't. It isn't. See, for my faith driven leaders who are watching, this is where the shift goes a little bit deeper because you don't own what you carry. You are stewarding your family, you're stewarding your business, you're stewarding the vision, you're stewarding the mission and your visibility. The expertise, the insight, the story, the methods, those were entrusted to us. And so that means stewardship means you don't get to bury it because you're uncomfortable. You don't get to hide it because it feels safer. And you don't get to delay it because you're waiting to feel ready. I wish I could tell you the amount of times I was waiting to be ready before. Sometimes you got to build a plane, as they say, while it's flying in the air. Sometimes you got to just go while you're still trying to tell yourself no. Because visibility at this level is not about ambition, it's about assignment. So here's what most people get wrong and how the shift actually starts to happen. They think the shift is an event, a moment, a breakthrough. And it's not. It can be. If you want to, you can make a declaration and have a declaration party. But it's really a declaration you practice into truth. Every time you feel the pattern rising to go back and hide, to go back and over explain, the urge to hide, the urge to step back, you replace it with the stewardship question, which is, who is waiting for what I carry? This question changed everything for me and still does. Who is waiting for what I carry? When you understand that you are placed on this earth to be an answer and a solution to someone, you can't hide, you can't play small. You owe it to your creator. You owe it to the source to show up. Because the question does the work, really. It moves the focus from your discomfort to the assignment. And the assignment will always outweigh hesitation every single time. So let's talk about some practical applications. The 3-line declaration. What I carry is not mine to hide. What I know is not mine to minimize. And who I am is not mine to apologize for. I really believe in speaking life. I really believe that life and death is in the power of the tongue. And I believe in speaking and declaring things over your life. What I carry is not mine to hide. Responsibility. What I know is not mine to minimize. Stewardship. Who I am is not mine to apologize for. Identity. You read these lines out loud before you write a post, before you record a video, before you walk in a room, before you send a pitch, before you quote the rate. You repeat those things because you cannot build visibility on a foundation of permission or waiting for permission. You can only build it on a foundation of stewardship. I am called to steward what I've been given. And so permission seekers build audiences. Stewards build authority, and authority is leadership. If this 3-part series has really helped you to reposition how you think about your visibility, The next step that I would love to invite you is to consider, hey, let's work together. Let's really work on creating your visibility strategy, so that way you have now confronted these issues, but let's get a system in place that they don't show back up again, and how to take this, which could be considered maybe a weakness, and really turn it into your strength, your superpower. Let's really help you get clear on your identity, your positioning, so that way you can continue to have impact and influence in the world. Because visibility is power, but only when it's rooted in what you were built to steward. You now have the reframe, the diagnostic, and the shift. What you do next is the difference between staying hidden and becoming the obvious authority you were built to be. I'll see you in the rooms you were built for.